Hello everyone! Do you ever wondered how it is to daily drive a Mustang GT in Australia? Stick around as I drive to the real experience. I broke down this video in 7 main categories, so let's jump straight into the first one. Like the whole performance and handling of the car. Well, you know, the Mustang GT is an American muscle with a V8 engine, so acceleration and power can be a little bit tricky. Well, my comparison, it's my previous cars, which is a Tesla like this one, and very old Ford Focus. So my experiences may differ a little bit from reality. I'll give you the most accurate view of what I know about that car. My experience driving the Mustang, it is in fact quite fast than any other V8 car. The acceleration, it's non-linear, it's quite weird. So if you press it to a certain rev figure, you're gonna behave like any normal car. Mine is a 10-speed auto. It tries to shift to the highest gear possible very fast. Being a 10-speed auto, it rarely goes over 2000 RPM. And like you can see the difference when you put on manual and then you go over. There's like two or three different levels. So if you go like halfway in the throttle, you will see a different response. And if you like pedal to the metal, you will see like a very aggressive response. So, and yeah, this one, if I remember correctly, 0 to 100 kilometers, or for Americans, 0 to 60, it's 4.7 seconds, which is quite fast. I mean, I do have a Tesla, which is this one, the SUV is 4.4. My one before was 3.6 seconds. So yeah, it's a little bit unfair to compare with an electric car, but it's pretty close. So it's quite nice. I had an opportunity to do some like drag races against a Tesla, and it doesn't lose by too much. So, and if we go over 100 kilometers per hour, I can get back all that gap and pass the Tesla. My one is the performance package, the PP1, the performance package 1. So in theory, it's already track ready. What that means is it has some upgraded Brembo brakes, different wheels, and a few other bits and pieces in the interior. Regarding brakes, those brakes are very strong. Some people say that if you really go to track days and like do anything like that, eventually you're gonna feel that you need an upgrade to like a massive brake, and maybe changing the brake discs as well, and do the whole brake package upgrade. For now, this one can do it really well. So never had any issues, and I had some situations where I had to brake really hard, and yeah, it worked beautifully as long as you maintain it in the whole thing and keep it fluid and stuff like that, and the brake pads, it should be all right. It's a pretty good, very reliable car. I mean, mine is quite new, so I have it for just over 6 months. There's not a lot going wrong with this one. It's a 2021 model, so it's been around for 2 and a little bit, almost 3 years. It's a really good car. I actually drove a non-performance package Mustang. I think it was 2017, 2018, and the brakes are still good. They don't have Brembo brakes, but they are still quite decent. So if you go to like a track or something like that, then probably you need to upgrade first. But for normal day-to-day daily driving, the car shouldn't be a problem. The handling, it's a little bit weird. I kind of experienced this a little bit already. Maybe because I'm just used to an electric car, and the electric cars can turn a lot more than a normal ICE car. So maybe that's the only difference. But sometimes I feel like I'm maneuvering a truck when I'm in the Mustang, and the Tesla can pretty much squeeze in any single tight spot without any problem. And this one is actually bigger and bulkier than the Mustang, and still like it's a lot easier to maneuver the Tesla than the Mustang. When you are actually driving, it's super smooth. It's a lot smoother than the Tesla. Have to give it that. Also, another thing that I'm really not the best person to answer this question around fuel efficiency. If I compare with my very old Ford Focus, it's not that much more expensive on fuel wise. It's a bigger engine. It makes total sense if the total consumption is not that great. Ford says that the Mustang can do anywhere from 12 to 14 liters per 100 kilometers. Mine, last time I calculated, was around 9. I mean, like, the car probably can do 12. I'm not sure about 14, but the car can probably do 12. But if you have a Mustang, you're probably gonna floor it a few times, and that reduces the whole average. So maybe it's actually my fault. On visibility and safety, the car has everything you can expect, so airbags and all the safety accessories, so no problem in that. There's a tire inflator as well that comes with the car and stuff like that, so all good on that aspect. Visibility, the only issue is the one that I mentioned before, like the side mirrors should be flipped, and that will make a lot more sense. The rear view window, it's actually big and sizable. I do have the GT 500/Mach 1 spoiler, and you can still see everything perfectly, so it doesn't obstruct anything, which is great. Maybe if you have those GT 500 kind of wings, that could make it a little bit more complicated, but other than that, it should be all right. Moving on to the third part, which is cost of ownership. So how much it costs to have a Mustang GT in Australia. I'm gonna do like a dedicated video to how much this Mustang cost me, like item by item, but that will be in another moment. I'll give like a very high level view of how much a Mustang costs and stuff like that. For this Mustang, I paid, if I remember correctly, $66,000, depending on year, specs and stuff like that. For the S550, it can go anywhere from 35,000 Australian dollars all the way to, well, 85, 90. 1,000 Australian dollars. Fuel costs, I usually put the best petrol slash fuel slash gas that I have in Australia. I usually put the BP Ultimate 98. Usually it costs me around 110 to like fill the tank when it's on the absolute minimum. It's not that much, to be honest. I don't drive that much, so that will last me for maybe 2-3 weeks. If I squeeze it really, really hard, maybe I can do it for the whole month. It's not a lot of money to like have a car like this and have fun, and I do have an electric, so if I need to do any more commuting or stuff like that and it becomes too expensive, I just go with a Tesla. We have quite a lot of chargers here, so it shouldn't be a problem anyways. Maintenance wise, there's not a lot I can talk about. This car I only had for just over 6 months, as I mentioned before. Never had any issues. I done the servicing once. It's all covered as part of my lease with the car, so I didn't have any maintenance costs or anything. It's a fairly new car, so nothing breaking down, nothing wearing down right now. I know it will come later in the future, but to be 100% honest, like when we have those kind of cars, there's no single bolt in the car that will wear down. We're gonna mod the whole thing and change everything in the car. So, and those are the parts that make the car less reliable. Those are the ones that break, and those are the ones that we have to pay a substantial amount of money to fix. But it's usually our fault and not the car. Like if you run the car OEM, like only do for commute, you won't see any issue for a long time. Weather, this is a good one. I see a lot of comments on YouTube, a lot of comments on Reddit talking about how the car handles in different weather. Australia in general, it's a very hot place. Melbourne specifically, it can be cold sometimes. There are a few places that actually snow as well. I never drove in snow. A friend of mine did, and he was extremely scared using like normal all year round kind of tires. I drove it in the rain a few times, and in Melbourne we have the trams. So when it's raining and you go over the tram tracks, it's pretty much zero grip. So it can be quite scary sometimes. I had a few issues. I think I had to put the wet mode maybe once or twice, like in some very heavy, like torrential rain. In those kind of situations, I had to switch to the wet mode in the car because it was getting like way too sketchy. Are you liking this video? Is it good? Is it helping? Drop a like, subscribe, comment something here in the comments. Anything helps. Like I'm really starting this whole YouTube thing, so anything, it really helps and really appreciate it. Before we continue the video, I have to wipe the car for the car meet, so I need to just make sure I have my quick detailer with me. Just need to wipe it a little bit and make it sure it looks good for the car meet. So come with me and I'll continue the video on the car. Okay, there's a few spots. Let's now move the car outside, make sure everything's actually clean, and then away we go to the car meet. Alright, did another check. The car is all good now. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's good enough. So yeah, let's go to the car meet, and I'll continue the video as I go. See you soon. Another beautiful day for a car meet. Let's go. Alright, that was a cool car meet. Didn't expect to have so many cars in here. It was like a very small kind of opening for one of those car product stores. And yeah, there was a really nice turnout. Didn't expect to see so many cars in there. Really cool event. Hope you like all the images and all the footage. Go back home and let's finish the video actually. Cool. So the last part of the video is some memorable experiences and why I decided to take on a Mustang instead of any other car really. So I decided to take the Mustang because this is pretty much what I grew up with. Brazil is a very Americanized country, so a lot of the American culture and the American way of life kind of get its way to Brazil. I think it's physically close, so it makes sense, but Brazil, it has been influenced a lot by US in the last 20-30 years. For that reason, like the whole American muscle kind of ideal kind of stuck in people, so we usually see all sorts of muscle cars in movies, TV shows, everything. So when I decided to like own a sports car, a really cool car that I can mod and do whatever crazy stuff I want, that had to be a Mustang. When I landed here in Australia, the first thing that happened, like I landed, I went to my accommodation and stuff like that, kind of still completely amazed of what a big city looks like, what a one of the like most famous cities in the planet looks like. Everything was so amazing, and the first thing I've seen in the road was a Mustang. I took a photo of that Mustang and I posted on Instagram, just like for jokes, and I put a caption saying like, one day I'll have one. Fast forward 5 years and that dream actually happened. So that kind of the end message of this video. Anything can happen if you just put your mind into it and work extra hard, like you visualize and then you put the work, you can get pretty much anything you wanted. So my initial dream was a Ford Mustang and a Tesla, and I got all two. I actually got my second Tesla as well. So yeah, my next big dream and big goal will be a Porsche GT3 RS and maybe a Huracan. That would be the ideal for me. But yeah, the same applies. Just have to visualize, put my head down, put the work, and I know eventually you're gonna get it. So if you are seeing this video in the future, comment down below like, did I actually get it or did I give up halfway through?